We may begin. First question, please.
I feel like my mind is leaving as I'm expanding my awareness, and it's getting difficult to come back to normal to take care of things in my life. And this is causing me great fear. Is my mind going away in this time of transformation?
In the past, there has been an identification of living through the mind. The mind is that which wants to keep you in the safety zone. And that safety zone is a zone of fear. It is founded in fear. It is shaped by fear. It is conditioned and driven by fear. It is a life of order and control, management, managing, so that you always understand how to be. You always know how to plan, how to address. There's always a mechanism of safety, orderliness, known. All of that is an old way that is becoming obsolete as we evolve into less and less identification with the mind, with the individualized orientation, the individual mind, that mind that loves intellect and achievement, that is oriented in a way of needing to control the individual to keep it safe. That is the epitome of separation consciousness. And by consciousness, we mean the way that you are aware. We will say that again, the way that you are aware. And in a separation consciousness, the way you are aware is through the mentalized experiencing of life, through the lens of fear. It is an integral part of life. Everything is tethered to fear in one way or another, which is why it is so scary to be in the absence of that orientation. No, there is nothing wrong with living in the orientation through the mind. There has been exquisite exploration and learning and understanding and growth and evolution through that way. But we will say again, that way is becoming obsolete. And it is becoming obsolete because of a larger collective choice that this avenue of exploration is finished, that collectively humanity has made a different choice. And part of the reason why they have made this choice is the recognition that we are exhausted from the burden of suffering inherent in this, from the deep, sustaining pain of feeling separate from our true self, from being taken care of through the higher self, rather than having to take care of. This is a deep, deep, deep level of exhaustion in humanity and in the individual. So there is a way of feeling, you mentioned this earlier, like we are losing our mind. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. What we are losing is the orientation of the way that our mind has been, or being oriented in that way. Some see that playing out in the collective as a manner of insanity. The overtness of the insane way of living that we have been in coming to everyone's attention. When you consider that we live in a collective world, that as a part of the way that we operate, there is inequality, there is oppression, there is violence, war, all manner of suffering as a normal aspect of life. The insanity of that is now coming to everyone's level of awareness. And you spoke earlier about feeling like I can't do it this way anymore. Yes, that is exactly the feeling of this time of transformation. Humanity has said we can't do this way anymore. But what that means is there is a period of the releasing, the dissolving of that way of being, of that individual identity, the limitations, the constrictions, the conflict orientation inherent in that we are in the process of releasing. But no one knows what it is to not be that. We only know ourselves in that way. Every single being only knows themselves in that way. That's how we've been conditioned. Literally, it is in the DNA. It is in the cultural conscious DNA. Sorry, we mean collective consciousness DNA. So there is, in an energetic sense, there is literally an unraveling of the collective DNA that was literally constructed in this manner, threaded with fear. Now, as we begin to lose all of our various attachments to that identity, it begins to feel very chaotic because things are happening simultaneously. The dissolution or release of old patterns and the availability of new patterns. The availability of a more spacious way of being without the limitations, which can be very disorienting. And that's exactly what's happening. It is a disorientation. This is correct. So, key to this time of transformation is allowing a kind of surrender that we are not familiar nor comfortable with, which is surrender to the unknown, which is actually exactly what's happening. What we're coming into at this point is unknown to that small, limited identity. Mary has referred to this many times. It's the beautiful state of, I don't know. We don't know ourselves in this way, which is the whole point of the awakening, is to realize or re-know ourselves in truth, in our exquisite, expansive, limitless truth. So the process underway right now is surrendering into an allowance of the evolution into greater and greater realization of our potential. And that feels very, very scary to the part that's oriented in fear. So we absolutely will along this way have to reconcile our relationship with fear. And the easiest way forward on this path is to do this reconciliation in our relationship with fear with profound, pure compassion, to realize that we evolve into the role of being the caretaker of our fear, recognizing with great compassion all the burden that fear has carried, recognizing the innocence at its origins, and to be very much like a parent taking care of a child that's exhausted, to say, it's okay, darling. It's okay. You can put it all down now. Your burdens are finished. Now you inherently will be taken care of in the way that we evolve from here. And you can see, inherent in this language, there is no rejection of fear. The relationship with fear is not one of conquering. It is not one of rejection. It is one of embrace. It is one of respect. It is one of cherishing. So as we begin to reorient ourselves in relationship to fear, we are allowing ourselves greater evolution into our true potential. So the surrender at hand in this time will allow us to progress through the chaos, the myriad layers and iterations of confusion in complete trust that we will, if you want to put it this way, come out on the other side much stronger, much more stable, and importantly, much freer. This freedom is fully freedom from fear, freedom from being held down or constricted or limited in our identification and alignment constantly with fear. In the absence of fear, there is exquisite freedom. We then become available to ever more of our potential that we can only rise to and experience in the absence of tethering to fear. This is the stage that you are experiencing now and will continue to experience for some time to come. But as you settle into the relationship with what you are aligning to instead of fear, this is the thing that will hold you centered and steady through all of the storms. It is the thing that will guide you into the living as your truth. In Mary's experience of embodying, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. When we embody, I am the way, you understand your power of choice. I am allowing, I'm choosing to allow the way of my potential rather than choosing the path of the past. I am the way. I am inherently the way through my choice to surrender, my choice to allow. And you can understand then the next part, I am the truth. As we allow that way to be evolving into our truth, the truth of our being, the purity of our essence. I am the way, I am the truth. And that truth is so luminous. When we have those moments of being fully aligned and experiencing our truth, we experience that luminosity. I am the way, the truth, the light. This is what we are evolving into. So it will help you greatly to have compassion for yourself, for all that is underway, for the fear that kicks up as you deepen into your own allowance, your own surrender, waking up into that mindfulness of, in this day, I surrender to the evolution of my truth, to allow the intention of your truth to be expressed through you in that surrendered state, that there's nothing blocking it, nothing restricting it, nothing cutting it off, that your orientation becomes an orientation of availability to truth, a welcome to be the expression of truth through you. Next question.
To get to a deeper revelation of truth, what would help me sink in and let go more fully?
This process is a rehabituation of your way of being. You were born into a world where everyone was oriented in the way of fear. The systems of the world keep us oriented in that way. From the time you were born, you were conditioned to be in this way. It's considered normal. This is how we do human. Now, there is a reason why we don't just leap from that orientation into full orientation as a divine being, fully realized, because there is a great deal to understand, to shift, to learn, and to heal in the process. So we must understand that we are in the process of becoming a new way, becoming a new kind of human, if you will. a human that is very oriented in divine connection, that it is, in truth, the higher self expressing here as human, not a separate identity I expressing itself as human. And therefore, the way of living in the divinely connected state begins from the moment we wake up. What are my thoughts? What is it that I do from the moment I get up? What is it that I think about? What is it that I prioritize? What is it that I allow? What is it that I expect? How is it that I relate? You see, everything is affected. Everything is affected. So understanding that, it's very important to realize that we need things that can condition us into the default orientation into divine connection. So we begin with the moment that we wake up. The surrender. In this day, I surrender to higher self orientation. We can even ask in our awakening moment, in this new day, what are the thoughts that my higher self would seek to experience here through me? Another way to say this is, what is the prayer of my higher self through me? And may that flow through me with ease. What is the prayer of my soul in this day? What is the orientation of my soul, or the intention or excitement of my soul in this day? And may that flow through me with ease. May I be a beautiful expression of that. My true self, my pure essence, what is your joy in this day? And may it flow through me, this vessel, as your expression in this day. You can feel in this the open, surrendered state of allowing the flow. That is the thing that constructs or allows in the thoughts of that orientation. Because what is normally available to you is all of the thoughts created, manufactured, and hung around in a separation consciousness. So that's like your library of available thoughts. So we are creating an avenue in for the availability of different thoughts, of the thoughts of the higher perspective. And as we do that, we are releasing then any attachments to the old. We begin to experience ourselves in a higher vibratory state. And in the higher vibratory state, the low vibration things do not express. We come into more union with divine perspectives. So it is a diligence of awareness, of our intention to surrender to higher being. Again, we will say the beautiful state of, I don't know. I, little I, don't know. That's correct. The little I does not know the divine perspective. So throughout the day, the orientation into a mindful allowance. Ooh, in this moment, what's the perspective of the higher self expressing here through me? Morning, noon, and night, a diligence. And in this way, we orient ourselves into the realization that we are becoming anew. So it's just a constant invitation into wonderful. What is that? Wonderful. How does that feel? So it is a process, a very slow, beautiful, methodical process that will have leaps and bounds occasionally, and then a need to stabilize, integrate, find new balance, and allow more. You have many beautiful resources available to you You have many available through the community that you participate in with Mary and with us, Consensus, the Divine New Being teachings. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We will reiterate that the Divine New Being teachings and the way that we engage in a group setting is an alchemical process. All you're doing in those is showing up. Yes, you show up, you immerse in union with us. So we have a unitive experience together of divine connection. This is a beautiful resource for you. So in addition to that, you also have myriad resources available to you in things that inspire you into new understandings. And you know this when you feel it. When you hear a teacher speaking and you can feel that it is a transmission or words coming from higher perspectives. So look into what feels inspiring or joyful, what feels like it nourishes you and stabilizes you and calls you forward into greater exploration of your truth. Not because you are trying to escape or reject an old life, but because you are allowing and welcoming in the new. You understand the orientation there is different. This is a release, not a rejection. It is a relief, not a blame, not a domination, not a conquering. That's a very, very important distinction. The more that you orient yourself, habituate yourself into divinely connected state, the divinely connected way, it will become your default. It becomes easier and easier and easier. And you notice this in particular in reactions to day-to-day life or world events, that you don't have the same reactions. That is the key area where you notice it. You feel much more of a peace where once there would have been a constricted kind of tension reaction or a pressure reaction. There's an absence of that tension or pressure, literally an absence of it in your field. And even as we say this, you may experience the freedom that's available then of all manner of things in a reaction or response. So the guidance here very clearly is to be mindful about how you are habituating yourself into a new default way of being, beginning with the moment you wake up, mindful about it throughout the day, the last thing that you're aware of before you go to sleep. You are in this way utilizing your power of manifestation. Next question.
What is my greatest block to staying in that open place of peace and connection?
Fear. Fear in all its iterations. Now, one of the things that is a beautiful part of this process is as you surrender more and more, you see every speck of fear. You see all the ways that it plays a role in your life, that you have been so identified with it, and it's shocking. It's shocking when we think, oh, I'm a pretty courageous person. I'm a pretty brave soul. Yeah, I'm afraid here and there. But then you realize, oh, my Lord, it's everywhere. It's intertwined with almost every decision or a lack of willingness to make a different decision. Here again, when we think about in a human world that is all about managing through security, through safety, through achievement, through control, we live in a world that is the way of being. And when we begin to release from that identity, we begin to see all the ways that our whole way of life has been constructed in blocks of fear. In attachments, we tie ourselves to fear and let it be a guidepost for us along the way. So without that guidepost, it's very scary. So fear is the greatest obstacle. And this is where changing your relationship to fear will have remarkable results for you. Just beginning to see yourself in relationship to fear very differently. because you realize as you take care of your fear, you're taking care of all parts of yourself. You are taking beautiful care of that part of you that has such desire to live in your divine truth. We take care of all of the things that are blocked by fear as we take care of fear. Now, you will not need, as you continue through your evolution, as you continue in the integration of this transformation, you will not need to sort through every kind of fear, every iteration of fear that's exhausting. And part of our impulse in doing that is to make sure, out of fear, that we're doing it right, or that we're cleaning house really, really, really thoroughly. You do not need to do that. As things arise, you may address them. You may have a compassionate relationship and understanding with fear in that moment. And what happens in that is that you're untying multiple things at one time that will release without needing to be sorted through or seen. You do not have to make a concerted effort to clean house of fear. As things arise, you can address them gently and compassionately, and you will find that they rise less and less and less and less and less. Now, this does not mean that you will not have intense periods. We have said before, we're at a very sort of thick layer of the chaos of all kinds of energies, all of the old that is now up for healing and the new that is arriving. And this is a very thick layer of debris, if you will. And we have said, in this thick layer of debris, as the fear has come unrooted from our past, in many ways, fear will double down. It's frantically seeking its roots again. It is massively disoriented. So you will perhaps have periods of intense fear, and these will be your greatest teachers for how you are showing up in relationship to that fear and in relationship to your trust. And this is where the connections that you are creating to the allowance of higher self-presence here will be greatly beneficial. Allowing the higher self to be that which is in relationship to the fear, that which is calming and caretaking the fear, and you trusting that that is underway, that it is happening through you.